Detroit, Michigan, a city that once rose to a rooster's call, now stirs to the bark of bullets, replacing any promise of peace with Glock switches, a violent hymn echoing down blocks. The night doesn't rest. It prowls with teeth bared and eyes open, where corpses freeze in alleys long before the case file even opens, and missing women vanish into rusted vans, resurfacing only as property, pimped, broken, and sold by the hour from roach-infested motels and dope-stained trap houses. Crack smoke seeps through boarded-up basements like a stain that breathes, slow, toxic, and soaked into the bones of the walls. And the kids? They're traded before they're taught, groomed in silence, sold in back rooms. By the time they can speak, they've already learned there's no point. Fentanyl is a delete key pressed on a soul. Swift, silent, and final. This isn't a city, it's a graveyard wearing power lines and potholes. Jobs disappeared, families fractured, hope didn't leave. It was exiled. Politicians spit out buzzwords. Revitalization, rebirth, renewal, like it's some kind of resurrection. But the people who still live here, the law-abiding citizens, know the truth. Detroit isn't coming back. It's bleeding out. The city is a hunting ground. Its arteries clogged with killers, gang members, traffickers, dope boys, and glass-eyed junkies twitching in alleyways. And the only thing getting rebuilt is the body count. One predator walked the cracked sidewalks unnoticed. No costume, no disguise. Just a homeless crack addict who prowled the east side, preying on prostitutes and using brute force to take what he wanted. He lured them in, then violated them in ways you'd be better off not knowing. What followed would expose one of the most disturbing serial murder cases in recent Detroit history, committed by a man named Deangelo Martin. You're listening to Descent to Depravity, where we investigate the darkest corners of the human psyche, one chilling story at a time. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Detroit, 1985, a city in freefall, once a monument to American industry, now corroded by poverty, crime, and institutional neglect. Entire blocks abandoned, windows boarded like coffins, the silence broken only by sirens and the wind through crumbling brick. And in the midst of that slow collapse, a child was born. Not into warmth, not into stability, but into chaos. Into a lineage steeped in brutality before he ever drew breath. His name was Deangelo Martin. His mother, Chantrianus Barker, was steeped in criminality. By the time Deangelo was 13, her house had become a dungeon. She allowed a man, a rival drug dealer, to be chained up in her basement while her accomplices tried to extort ransom. What happened down there was torture, not metaphorical, not exaggerated, real pain, real screams. They burned him with cigarettes, pressed heated nickels to his skin, stabbed him with a bayonet over and over. And while that man begged for his life, Barker bought food for the kidnappers upstairs, knowing exactly what was unfolding below her feet. When the ransom scheme crumbled, the man was executed, his corpse dumped like trash onto a city street. Barker was sentenced to life in prison for felony murder. And just like that, Deangelo, barely a teenager, was left behind to drift through the wreckage. Whether he was in that house during the torture remains unknown. But you don't walk away from that kind of darkness untouched. With his mother gone, Deangelo bounced between relatives in the streets. According to Minister Kyle Brother Joe Hicks, the boy was already lost when he first found him huddled beneath a downtown amphitheater, surrounded by addicts, drifters, and forgotten men. He was barely out of childhood and already drowning in addiction, panhandling by day, numbing himself by night. But even in the chaos, Deangelo had a dream. He wanted to sing. He and another homeless man would croon together, voices slurred, harmonies broken by the shaking of withdrawal. I imagine they were pretty good singers when they were sober, Brother Joe once said. But they were never sober. And Detroit kept moving. The streets don't give sympathy. Then came winter, sharp, unmerciful, the kind of cold that doesn't just bite, it devours. He fell asleep with numb feet, woke up 3 toes lighter. No ambulance, no outcry. Just frostbitten flesh and silence, the kind that seeps into the bones and stays there. But this wasn't rock bottom. There was no bottom. This was the slow calcification of a boy's soul. The point where whatever light he had left dimmed into something unrecognizable. He didn't rise from it, didn't seek forgiveness or salvation. He learned instead to mimic the cold, to wear his pain like armor. The drifting child didn't disappear. He just changed shape, and what emerged in his place was colder than winter, sharper than the steel of a bayonet, a predator not born but forged. Before the murders, Deangelo Martin was already circling the margins of Detroit's justice system, brushing up against it, leaving scars, but never being stopped. In 2006, Martin fled from police in a vehicle and was arrested. He got probation. After 18 months, he was released, without improvement. A quiet phrase in court paperwork, a loud warning no one heard. By 2009, he was stealing cars. Again, probation. But this arrest would plant something permanent. His DNA logged into the national database. It wouldn't matter yet, but it would. In 2012, a hit came back. Martin's DNA matched a from 2004, 8 years earlier. The victim, 41-year-old Sylvia Sampson, had been walking when a man pulled up in a gold car, pointed a gun, and told her to get in. He drove her to a field littered with tires and told her if she didn't obey, he'd snap her neck. He raped her, kicked her in the face, and stole $10 from her coat. A rape was collected, but not tested. It sat in a warehouse for years, one of over 11,000 unprocessed kits discovered in Detroit. When the match finally surfaced in 2012, Detroit police ignored it. 4 years later, they reopened the file, only to find Sampson was dead. No living victim, no charges, case closed. Martin was still free. On June 14, 2015, another woman came forward, Kyandra Williams. She told police she woke up on a friend's couch with Martin on top of her. Her pants and underwear were pulled down, her legs lifted onto his shoulders. He was performing without her consent. When she tried to push him off, he forced, then continued. When he finished, he looked her in the eyes and said, "I'm sorry I scared you." She ran, called 911 from a gas station, but he wasn't finished. He chased her and her friends through the streets in his car, trying to ram them off the road. She named him Deangelo Martin. Still, he walked. 6 months later, on December 15, 2015, Courtney Kirby walked into Detroit's 3rd Precinct to report another assault. She didn't know the man's name, maybe Clyde or Claude. She said he hung around Carl's liquor store on Gratiot and Sheen. They had gone into an abandoned house near Mack and St. Aubin to smoke. That's when he snapped. He threw her down, punched her repeatedly in the face, and possibly sexually. She wasn't sure. He attacked her from behind. He also stole her purse. Eventually, police connected the suspect to Deangelo Martin, but Courtney refused to give a formal statement. With no cooperation, the case was closed. The pattern was taking shape. Random violence, often against vulnerable women in isolated locations. Attacks dismissed or buried. Victims left alone if they survived. Then came November 12, 2016. Was submitted to the Detroit Sex Crimes Unit. Sharice Miller, no address, no phone number. Just a record from a hospital. The victim told a nurse she had argued with the man before he snapped. He attacked her. The only descriptions available were fragmentary, pieces from her brief account. Her DNA kit was logged and processed. Later, the results would come back. Deangelo Martin. But police had no way to contact her. No identity. She vanished, just another nameless body in the paperwork. Martin wasn't hiding. He was operating in plain sight. Detroit police was asleep at the wheel. The damage was documented. But every time a woman spoke up, the system shut down. And Martin kept going. Violence had become a fixture in Martin's life by the end of 2017, woven into every relationship and encounter. On November 30th, 2017, 1856 Winthrop Street, Detroit, a woman showed up to retrieve her belongings from Martin, her ex-boyfriend. Instead, she was chased out of the house with a knife. She told police this was the 4th time she'd reported him. This time, she said she wanted to press charges. But there's no record he was held accountable. Deangelo wasn't just a... He was also a batterer. December 26, 2018, Southfield, Michigan. At a Citgo gas station, first responders were treating a pregnant woman named Natasha Sampson for what appeared to be a seizure. But when they placed her inside the ambulance, she whispered just 3 words. "Help me. DV." Domestic violence. Her boyfriend, Deangelo Martin, was on the scene. Paramedics called police. When officers arrived, they found a swollen knot the size of a golf ball on Natasha's forehead. She said Martin attacked her after an argument, accusing her of cheating while they were walking from a nearby church shelter. She said he hit her repeatedly, even used her cell phone as a weapon, striking her 4 or 5 times in the head. Then fists. More blows, more damage. Natasha said she was terrified. She believed he was going to kill her. Martin denied it all, claimed she had a seizure, that they were drunk, that she fell. But officers placed him under arrest. He did a few weeks in the county jail. Still, the system released him. He was walking free again. At approximately 4:20 p.m. on Monday, February 26, 2018, a 911 call was received reporting a black male near the Royal Car Wash, seen carrying a female who appeared to be covered in blood. The caller stated the woman might already be dead. The male suspect was described as a black male, approximately 6 feet tall, last seen walking on Plymouth Avenue toward Winthrop Street. At 4:25 p.m., officers Beach and Povish were traveling eastbound on Plymouth Avenue in response to the call. As they canvassed the area, they located an unresponsive, naked black female lying face up on the sidewalk along Winthrop Street, just north of Plymouth Avenue. The scene was grim, her body motionless, exposed to the elements, blood visible. Emergency medical personnel arrived shortly thereafter and pronounced the female deceased at the scene. A witness, later identified as Yusef Dabja, approached officers and provided a chilling account. He had observed a man, later identified as Rudolph Henderson, dragging the female down the sidewalk. According to Dabja, Henderson stood over the woman, shouting. Officers conducted an area search and located Mr. Henderson nearby. He was immediately detained for investigation. Officers secured surveillance footage from the Royal Car Wash, a green light project location equipped with live feed cameras. The footage confirmed witness statements. Mr. Henderson was clearly seen dragging the victim from a residence at 11-24 Winthrop Street. At one point, he appeared to be startled by a passing southbound vehicle, stepping away from the woman's body. Once the vehicle passed, Henderson resumed, lifting the woman by the ankles and carrying her down the sidewalk. Her limbs limp, her body lifeless. Based on witness statements, video evidence, and the condition in which the victim was found, Mr. Henderson was placed under arrest and formally charged with first-degree murder, premeditated. He was taken into custody and interrogated. The investigation led detectives to 2 distinct but connected scenes. The secondary scene was located outside, on Winthrop Street, approximately 30 yards north of Plymouth Avenue, where the victim's body had been discovered. But it was the primary scene, the source of the violence that told the story hidden behind rotting wood and crumbling walls. 11-624 Winthrop Street, a vacant house on the east side of the block. Members of the homicide team made entry through the north side of the structure. Every door to the dwelling had been ripped off its hinges, as if the house itself had given up resisting whatever had taken place inside. The interior was stripped and broken. Drywall and ceiling debris blanketed the floors, making each step loud in the stillness. In the center of what used to be the living room, there was a pool of blood, dark, thick, and dried into the wood, and a violent spray of blood-coated part of the wall nearby. Scattered just inches away were a crumpled blue jacket, a gray sweatshirt, and a pair of black pants, abandoned, stained, and left behind like the discarded remnants of a struggle. In the kitchen, just near the entrance, detectives noted an open condom wrapper on the floor. A used condom was found a few feet away near the edge of the dining room, further deepening the disturbing nature of the scene. Blood droplets, small but deliberate, traced a path through a narrow hallway, leading toward the front living room and out the front door. The trail continued across the front porch and then down the steps, each spot marking a descent into horror, until the droplets reached the sidewalk, ending at the very spot where the victim's body had been found earlier that day. The evidence inside 11-624 Winthrop painted a grim picture of what occurred before the victim's final moments. This house, though long abandoned, had borne witness to something unspeakable. Deangelo Martin's first victim was identified as Annetta Nelson. According to the medical examiner's body ticket, She had no identification, no personal belongings, just a lifeless body left behind with the words "no property" scrawled across the report. On February 27, 2018, the Wayne County Medical Examiner's Office received the lifeless body of 57-year-old Annetta Nelson. By the time she arrived on the steel table in Detroit, her story had already been cut short, but her body still spoke volumes. What it told was nothing short of horror. Dr. Lee Halavati, the Deputy Chief Medical Examiner, performed the post-mortem. Her conclusion was chilling and definitive: homicide by strangulation. The signs weren't subtle. Annetta's face was swollen and dark with blood congestion. Her eyes bore the unmistakable red speckling of conjunctival petechiae, those tiny ruptured vessels that scream of oxygen stolen, of breath choked away. Beneath her chin, clusters of abrasions and bruises formed a brutal map, clear evidence of fingernails raking skin in a desperate struggle for life. Her neck told the rest of the tale. Internally, 3 separate hemorrhages were found in the very muscles that control breathing and speech: her sternocleidomastoid, her strap muscles, and her thyroid. Though her hyoid bone was intact and her thyroid cartilage unbroken, a string had been tied around her throat. Yet it was the human hand that took her last breath, not the string. This was manual strangulation, personal, prolonged, cruel. But Deangelo Martin didn't stop there. Annetta had been savagely beaten. Her forehead bore twin abrasions. Bruising stained both of her eyes. There were scrapes across her temple, her nose, her cheeks, even in front of her ear. A heavy bruise on her right chin. 4 separate abrasions marred the left side of her face near her mouth. Her lips were battered. Her entire body was a canvas of violence. And still, it got worse. Her back and neck bore brush-burn abrasions, telltale signs of being dragged across pavement. Her shoulders, her spine, her middle finger, her shins, her arms and legs, all covered in scattered bruises and trauma. Her skin told the story of a woman who had been thrown, hauled, brutalized. And then, the final violation: 3 mucosal abrasions inside her vagina. The report doesn't speculate, it doesn't need to. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. It wasn't random. It was targeted, vicious, intimate. Annetta Nelson's final moments were a storm of fear and force. Her killer didn't just want her dead, he wanted her powerless, stripped, obedient. And this was only the beginning. Deangelo Martin's first known victim, but far from his last. Back at the precinct, detectives proceeded to interrogate Rudolph Henderson, still under the assumption they had the man who murdered Annetta Nelson.
What happened today, Rudolph? Why are you here? Why are we talking to you today?
Because the first time I saw her,
who's her?
Got carried out of the house.
Who's her? Who are you talking about?
That's the girl I first seen her. Is that the first time I seen her?
Which girl are you talking about?
That may be the second time. The girl, the dead body, I don't know her name. She just cuss a lot. She just talk a lot.
Okay.
I usually tell her a sweet comment and then let her cuss me out. She usually called me all kinds of stinking bitch and hoes and stuff. She usually called me all kinds of bitches and stuff.
So you were with her today?
Yeah, I saw her today inside the McDonald's.
Okay. So what happened after you left? So you guys were both at McDonald's?
I walked in there and she was walking around in there and she said that she wanted some, no, she was in there sitting down. She was in there talking and everything, but it was crowded. That's what they always let her go in there and do. Because teenagers on McDonald's.
Okay.
On the summer job.
So when you went to McDonald's, where'd you go after that? After McDonald's? You went where?
Minimum wage.
But where'd you go after McDonald's?
After then, I went around and hustled at the gas station because they sell, you know, the cocaine, the little rocks that you feel love. It's ecstasy or something. And when you smoke out of a stem, there's a little smoke that you start feeling good.
I know.
And then it goes away after 3 or 4 minutes.
Wow. So you go, old girl, to the gas station?
No, she stayed in there because she ran me out of there. She would call me that.
So she stayed at McDonald's or you?
No, I went over to the side.
Okay. Of what? McDonald's?
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
I asked them for some change.
Okay. Then from there, you went across the street to the gas station?
From there, yeah, I went around the gas station.
So where was she? Where was she at?
One time I went back there and hooked up with $5. I came back and she was still in the McDonald's. Okay.
So where did you go with her after the McDonald's?
Huh?
Where did you go with her after the McDonald's?
I ain't go with her in McDonald's.
Okay.
I went back in McDonald's because I was making my going burn from gas station to gas station. I was going there to hustle some change, see if she gone because she ran me out of there. Said I was stepping on her foot or something.
So that was her spot. So McDonald's was her spot.
I actually changed something.
So that's what you're saying. McDonald's was her spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So third time I went there, she wasn't there. So I went to all the dog spots and they had nickels. He was out. No, I ain't go over there. And she the one at that round corner from the store where the church at. She the one and that ugly guy. First week, this like 4 or 5 months ago, we in the dog spot.
No, but we're not talking about 4 or 5 months ago. I want to talk about what happened today.
They've been there.
Yeah. So how did you end up at the house on Winthrop?
I haven't seen them before. They haven't been there before. That fat girl who went in there.
No. All right. So when you end up what's her name? What's the girl's name? The one that
he been shot 6 times still.
But what's the girl's name?
I don't know her name.
You don't know her name?
I don't know her name.
So how did you end up walking out the house with her?
Well, she was dead already.
She was dead already?
Yeah, she was dead already.
Where was she dead at?
First I was in this house. I went in there to find, because I thought I lost my stem. Until I lose my stem. I did lose my stem because I got one rock in the pocket. So I had the antenna. I went in there to try to find some kind of stem, some kind of long metal, so I could smoke the nickel.
Okay.
And then I couldn't find nothing. I went all the basement trash, all in the basement steps over beer bottles, over pop bottles. And then I couldn't find nothing in there. So I decided I wasn't going to find no stem in there. And then I ran to the other side. And when I walked over, I stepped on, I didn't look down. I was walking so fast, I stepped on the neck. And I was like, dang, excuse me. Like,
so where did you step on her neck? Where was she at where you stepped on her neck?
With a green cover over
Where?
her head.
Where? Where was she laying at?
On the floor.
Which floor?
In the kitchen floor.
In the kitchen floor? So you walked in there for what?
I walked next, I didn't find the stem yet.
Okay.
Because it might have been something that was trapped in the walls, these other kind of bones that's connected with that, or it might have been an antenna from a TV or over an antenna, or maybe a screw or something, or maybe a screw, so I was looking for. And then I walked so fast, I said, excuse me, and jumped. Well, I said, excuse me, like, damn. I said, excuse me, damn. And then I went over to the fireplace, and then I was about to go out the door, and I ran the door and downstairs, and I came back up and said, wait a minute. Like, my thought was she ain't wake up yet, or if they ain't wake up, I said, I want to see who it is, they might be dead. If they didn't wake up to see who it is, I think it was her.
So what'd you do after that?
And then I tapped her face like this, and then I seen the blood.
Okay.
And then I took the cover off and found out that it was stiff, that it was like that was already completely gone.
What was completely gone?
Completely dead.
What was?
That she wasn't alive.
That she wasn't alive. Asleep. Now she's the same girl that was inside McDonald's.
Yes, yeah.
That's the same girl.
She used to be on that chicken place too. At that she used to sit in there and talk all day. A little bit down the street. And
you know her name?
Not that chicken place. The one past that chicken place.
But do you know her name?
She's never in there.
The girl that was in the house. Do you know her name? I'm asking what happened when you went in the house and found that girl laying there.
And then I said, oh, because I knew her. I used to play with her all the time. That's when she is in the sign. So I said, I ain't trying to come on to you. She said, I was trying to get brand new or something. I like her. So I said, no, I ain't perverted dance from around like that. So I don't want to do it to you or nothing.
You told her that today?
No, that's a different day.
Okay.
on the period of time they just been over there. Because they're telling you, like, fish have been there for an hour, like an hour here, and it's so crowded.
She was
so
wild.
Crowded, all that fish, and they're buying that they could get away. They could have a field day on the church.
So you said you went into the house looking for what? For a stem?
Yeah, for a pipe.
Did you find one?
No.
No? So, but you had one on your pocket when the police talked to you.
She ain't pulled it out with the others. Oh, I did find it. I pulled it out. I pulled it out of a lamppost.
So you pulled that out from a lamppost?
Yeah.
So you walked in the house, you saw the girl there, then you went to look for your stem?
No. I found the stem in the first house or the other house. No, I got mad and said, wait a minute. When I found she was there, I said, wait a minute. Because I would take my time. And then I was like, wait a minute. Then I unscrewed it. I said, wait a minute. And then that's when, because before I picked her up, I took the covers off. And that's when I went outside. I said, I'm getting all y'all packed. I said, I'm getting all y'all skittle flaps. This is cop language. This is cop language. You peel your box like this. Or set you straight.
Who you saying that to?
Or send a flipping bullet on who would register one. If you cops ever set you, that they'd be looking close.
So who you talking to? Who you saying that to?
The other cops I knew. The other cops I knew. No, I was talking to the people in the neighborhood because she ended up dead, and I got thinking because the black guy, when I went to cop from him, around the corner. It was nighttime, and I brought him $80 from Hustler's gas station, so they spread me change. I seen this guy, he was in the dark, but I seen the guy with the beard, the black, tall, skinny guy, and I saw her alive.
Okay.
Last night,
that was last
nightfall.
So tonight, when you went in that house,
no, that was last night before this night.
Yeah, but no, I'm talking about today.
Because I've been up all day.
Today, when you went in the house. Right?
Right.
Have you been in that house before?
Yeah, I've been in the house before.
Why were you going in that house for?
Because there was some cars, some baby cars, the baby driving in. I went and took and sell them to the gas station, grabbed it out. It was 2 cars that I took at the gas station, sat there, that just was in there. That said gas station, they bought them from me.
What?
Them Cadillac cars, some big cars.
Yeah, little pedal cars. Pedal cars.
In the engine in it.
So when you went inside there, what you found her? You went to get the stem, or you got the stem first, then found her?
No, I found her. I seen her. I knew it was her. I went and got the stem because I was upset. I'm like, I know she ain't dead. And my family stay in the neighborhood. She live in the neighborhood. She been in the neighborhood so long. So I went and got the stem, and then I was thinking, I'll smoke right here. Wait a minute. I said, all y'all on the job. I said, all y'all. And then I was like, wait a minute. That's why I went over and told him, you're going to suffer for it.
You told who?
The other guy. So I know that's his girlfriend. I know you ain't that ugly and get nobody like baby powder and get no girlfriend like that.
So
that's how
where were you taking her?
Because he the one.
No, why did you take her out of the house?
They don't live outside.
No, I'm asking why did you take her out the house?
Because if I left her in there and walked away to wait for the cops, she might end up missing, and then I might lose.
So where were you taking her to? Where were you going to take her to?
I was going to take her just in front of the people of the busy street. Because I know they all see you. I know they all see. They gonna say carrying to get by. I know the big street gonna tell, and I already know that I ain't do it. That the cops already know me at 6th precinct. That it's okay to do this.
He said he moved the corpse, not out of malice, but because he didn't think anyone would ever find her otherwise. It was a bizarre confession, a strange, sad act. But buried in his disjointed story was a truth no one in that room was ready to face. The real killer was still out there. And Rudolph Henderson was just a broken man caught in the wake of something far more sinister. Inside the sterile, fluorescent-lit corridors of the Michigan State Police Forensic Laboratory, the truth began to bleed through the silence. On May 2, 2018, a CODIS hit came back, loud and damning. a vaginal swab collected from 57-year-old Annetta Nelson had been entered into the database. The result? A match. DNA specimen MI10-01553 belonged to one man, Deangelo Kenneth Martin. A forensic scientist confirmed it using advanced PCR testing. But the most haunting line came not from the data, but from the scientist's warning. You'll find this name in other case files. But before that name ever surfaced, another man had been sitting in a cold cell for a crime he didn't commit. Rudolph Henderson. Mentally ill, homeless, and easy to blame. Forensic interpretation of multiple DNA samples, oral swabs, vaginal swabs, even the inside of a condom. Systematically and conclusively excluded Henderson as the source. One by one, the reports laid it bare. Henderson was excluded from all swabs taken from Nelson's body. The DNA inside the condom, not his. Vaginal swab fraction 1, not his. Fraction 2, not his. Oral swabs, again, not his. And the most damning evidence of all, a probability statistic so staggering it practically screamed guilt. The chances that the DNA inside the condom belonged to someone other than Deangelo Martin was 1 in 71 million. This wasn't a mistake. It was misdirection. While the wrong man sat shackled and shivering in a holding cell, the real killer walked free, calculating, calm, and already hunting again. By the fall of 2018, the walls should have been closing in on Deangelo Martin. Behind the scenes, a forensic match had been made. Lynn Helton, a scientist at the Michigan State Police Crime Lab, alerted the Detroit Police Department that Martin's DNA had been linked to multiple sexual assault cases. It was the kind of break investigators pray for. A known name, a forensic connection, a green light to act. But the case files? They go quiet, silent. They don't say what, if anything, the Detroit Police Department did next. According to Detroit Police Commander Michael McGinnis, a dedicated apprehension team was formed to track Martin down. But when pressed, he admitted, "I don't know what specific actions they took to try to locate him, but they were unsuccessful. Unfortunately, it takes time sometimes to catch people. Time Martin would use to stay free and keep hunting." In the months after the DNA hit, Deangelo Martin wasn't hiding in the shadows. He was out in the open. In September, Wayne State University police ticketed him for disorderly conduct. That same month, just north in Ferndale, he was arrested for lying about his identity. 3 months later, Deangelo was arrested by Southfield Police Department after he physically assaulted his girlfriend. He pled guilty, was booked into the Oakland County Jail, and served 2 weeks. And yet, no one called Detroit. Not Wayne State, not Ferndale, not Southfield. Detroit police had never asked them to. No warrant was filed, no BOLO issued, no cross-agency alerts. Martin's name sat in one system while he walked through another, free, anonymous, and untraceable. Had a more robust apprehension effort been made, McGinnis later admitted, "I would hope we would have learned that he had contact with these other agencies and been able to chase that down. That did not occur. So Martin slipped through the cracks, not because he was clever, not because he vanished, but because no one was looking in the right places. And as months passed and bodies began to surface, one question echoed louder than any other. How many lives might have been saved if someone had picked up the phone? It didn't take long after Deangelo Martin's release from jail for the killing to begin again. March 19th, 2019. Detroit police were dispatched to the corner of Coventry and Remington. Another call for one down. The report came from a man waiting at a nearby bus stop who said he found a woman inside a vacant home. She wasn't moving. Officers Brandon Marker and Stephen Kenny arrived first. Scout Car 1212. They pushed their way into 2075 Coventry Street, an abandoned house like so many others scattered across Detroit's east side. Inside, on the second floor, they found her. A white female, face down, partially clothed in a way that didn't make sense. One sock still clinging to her right foot, the torn sleeve of a black jacket twisted around her left arm. Her body slumped over a filthy mattress, her head and upper torso pressed into the stained surface. Her knees had buckled beneath her, still touching the floor. The position was unnatural, humiliating. almost like she'd been forced into it, like she'd died mid-prayer. Blood marked her face. It soaked into the mattress beneath her. Rigor had already set in. Paramedics confirmed what the officers already knew. She'd been dead for hours, at least 5. The man who called it in, a Mr. Tate, told officers he had stepped into the house only to escape the wind while waiting for the bus. Just long enough to light a cigarette. That's when he found her. He didn't touch the body, didn't go any farther. He walked back out and called 911. One body, another vacant home, another victim discarded like trash in the shadows of a city that had stopped looking. Soon the scene was swarming. Homicide detectives, the evidence tech, the medical examiner. Log number 193536. They processed the scene in silence. Another brutal death in a string of horrors that was only just beginning. The body was identified as 52-year-old Nancy Harrison. On March 20th, 2019, the Wayne County Medical Examiner's Office released the findings from an autopsy that revealed the savage truth behind the death of Nancy Elaine Harrison. Dr. Carl Schmidt, Chief Medical Examiner, didn't leave room for doubt. The cause of death: blunt force trauma to the head. Nancy had been brutalized. The blows targeted her head and neck, with such force that her nose was visibly fractured. The left side of her face was battered with contusions and abrasions, stretching from her cheek to her lip. The damage didn't stop at the surface. Beneath her scalp, there was massive hemorrhaging, confluence bleeding across her skull, spreading like ink beneath fragile paper. Both hemispheres of her brain showed signs of swelling and hemorrhage, especially in the frontal and occipital regions, signs of repeated, relentless trauma. The kind meant to silence, the kind meant to kill. But the horror didn't end there. The report noted signs of smothering, tears inside Nancy's lips, likely caused by pressure from teeth clenched during the attack. Facial injuries suggested she may have been pressed hard into a surface, forcefully enough to damage her skin and tissue. Then there were the injuries to the ankle. Injuries the examiner said were consistent with rough sex. Nancy Harrison didn't just die. She was beaten, smothered, and violated. And in her final hours, cocaine coursed through her bloodstream, a possible escape or maybe bait used to lure her in. Either way, the toxicology confirmed the drug was used shortly before death. The medical examiner's conclusion was chilling, final, and absolute. The manner of death is homicide. Nancy Harrison was not just a name on a report. She was someone's daughter, someone's mother. And in her final moments, she faced unspeakable violence. The Michigan State Police Forensic Science Division got to work. Analysts examined a vaginal swab taken from Nancy Elaine Harrison, the woman found dead, face down, bloodied and brutalized inside a vacant Detroit house. The DNA was run through CODIS, the National Combined DNA Index System. And then, a hit. The name that came back, Deangelo Kenneth Martin. His DNA had already been entered into the system from prior cases. Not just once, but several. The same vaginal swab from Nancy Harrison's autopsy matched 4 separate DNA profiles connected to Martin. One of them tied back to an earlier evidence kit from another Detroit Police Department case. Evidence collected, logged, and stored. Wasn't just a match, it was confirmation. Deangelo Martin had been there, inside her. A fingerprint left in flesh. There was no denying it now. The man police once let slip through their fingers had sexually assaulted Nancy Harrison before her life was violently taken. The same hands that crushed her face, the same force that fractured her skull, the same brutality that left her dead, half naked, and discarded in a forgotten house. And now the evidence spoke louder than any witness ever could. Deangelo Martin wasn't just a suspect anymore. He was the source. He was the link. He was the predator. May 7th, 2019, Detroit. It's just after 1:43 in the morning when a woman jolts awake to the sound of screaming. The cries are raw, panicked, coming from the basement. She rushes out of her bedroom and into the hallway, her heart pounding. What she sees next is something that will stay with her forever. A woman, bleeding, terrified, emerges from the basement stairs. She's clutching a knife, the blade soaked in blood. She's wearing nothing but a t-shirt, naked from the waist down. Blood pours from a deep slash on the side of her neck. She doesn't say her name. She doesn't have to. The look in her eyes says everything. She tells the woman she was attacked by a man named Elijah. She says she told him she didn't want to have sex. And that's when he pulled the knife. He stabbed her in the neck, and then he raped her. Down in that basement, the attacker, still naked, blood on his own neck, pulls on a pair of tan pants and black shoes. He tells the witness that the woman stabbed him, and then bolts out the side door into the darkness. He vanishes before police arrive. But this wasn't just any man. He was her grandson, a known user of crack cocaine. His real name, Deangelo Martin. Medics arrive quickly. The victim is rushed to the hospital, her condition critical. Inside the house, the responding officers find the knife the victim had been holding, placed carefully on a living room table by the woman who found her. Blood is everywhere, on the stairs, on the floor, on the blade. The story the victim tells is consistent with what the witness saw. An attempted murder, followed by a violent rape in the shadowed basement of a home where someone thought they were safe. And for some reason, police would not seek charges in the rape until 2 days after Martin's final known homicide victim was discovered. Just days after a brutal assault in the blood-streaked basement of his grandmother's home, Deangelo Martin surfaced again. This time, not as a predator, but as a man asking for help. He was found 30 miles away in Chesterfield Township, wandering into a parking lot, disoriented, and flagging down officers. But what might have looked like a cry for assistance quickly unraveled. When they ran his name, officers learned Martin was already wanted in Southfield. He had violated probation stemming from a previous assault on an ex-girlfriend. Back in custody, Martin tried to plead his case, not in court, but on paper. In a handwritten letter to the judge, he wrote, "In your favor, please look out for me. You have my word. I want to do what's right." He was given 10 more days behind bars. Southfield Judge Cynthia Arvent didn't see a killer in front of her. She saw a man in need of structure, medication, maybe a chance. She encouraged him to follow through with social services, to stay on his prescribed medication for his mood disorder. Her closing words were cautious but kind. "Mr. Martin, I wish you the best of luck. Hopefully you'll be done with this. Put it behind you and move forward." She had no way of knowing what he'd already done, and no idea what was still to come. Friday evening, May 24th, 2019. Just past 7:25 p.m. in Detroit, Michigan. Police scout car 9 to 10, crewed by officers Danielle Glass and Kenneth Morant Brown, is dispatched to a call for a dead body at 13707 Lyndhurst. When they arrive, Medic 15 and Engine 50 are already there. The medics have confirmed the grim reality. The body on scene is deceased. Later, she's identified as Trevicine Ellis. The 911 call came from a man named William Estelle. He had stopped by the Lyndhurst property to check on its condition. Estelle had purchased the house at auction back in November 2018 and was in the midst of slowly rehabbing the place. According to Estelle, he had boarded it up, but someone had recently broken in through the back door. Estelle entered the rear of the house. Immediately, he was struck by a stench, foul, unmistakable. As he moved through the kitchen and stepped into the dining room, he found the source, the naked, decomposing body of an adult female. He called 911. Police and medics arrived to a grisly scene. The woman, later confirmed to be Trevicine Ellis, was laid out across the floor on top of a blanket. Another blanket had been thrown over most of her body. When that covering was removed, officers discovered her positioned face down on her hands and knees. A couch cushion was wedged beneath her hips, elevating her lower body. She was completely nude from the waist down except for a single sock on her left foot. Her shirt was pulled up around her neck and left shoulder, exposing her breasts. Just to her left, officers located a used condom. Decomposition had already taken hold. There was insect activity across her exposed skin. Blistering, skin slippage. Her physical condition made it impossible to immediately determine a cause of death. The Wayne County Medical Examiner's office was called to retrieve her remains. A rape kit was ordered on the scene. An autopsy was later performed by Assistant Medical Examiner Dr. Gupta. The results were inconclusive. The cause of death was ruled unknown. The manner of death? Indeterminate. But forensic evidence from the scene and from Ellis's body told a different story. Samples from the crime scene and the autopsy were sent to the Michigan State Police Forensic Science Division. DNA was recovered and analyzed, then compared to a known sample from a suspect, Deangelo Martin. The findings were staggering. From anal and perianal swabs, a match to Martin with odds of 900 septillion to 1. From the inside of the condom, fraction 1, 26 million times more likely to be Martin and one unknown contributor than two unknowns. From the inside of the condom, fraction 2, a match to Martin with odds of 24 nonillion to 1. From the outside of the condom, fraction 1, 66 quadrillion times more likely to be Martin and an unknown than two strangers. And from the outside, fraction 2, again, a match. This time, the likelihood, 20 nonillion to 1. Each sample built the same narrative. Deangelo Martin's DNA was on and inside that condom, on and around Trevesine Ellis, inescapably present at the scene of her death. The science was clear. Whatever had happened inside that decaying house on Lyndhurst, Deangelo Martin had been a part of it. On Wednesday, June 5, 2019, when two Detroit police sergeants, Lisa Bryson and Jeremy McNichol, were patrolling near Mack Avenue in Mad Elliott. That's when a man flagged them down. His name was David Taylor. He said he had just found a body inside a building at 3696 Mack Avenue. Taylor explained that he had entered the vacant structure with a woman for the purpose of receiving fellatio. As soon as they stepped inside, a powerful odor hit them, the smell of something dead. They pushed deeper into the house, following the stench, until they found her. Inside a first-floor bedroom, slumped awkwardly over a TV stand, was the decomposing body of an adult female. They turned and left. Moments later, Taylor flagged down the two sergeants. When the officers entered the house, they confirmed the scene. The body was mostly nude, face down. One foot, the right, was still planted on the ground, while the left leg was twisted unnaturally, draped up across the TV stand. The only item of clothing still on her was a single sock, pulled halfway up her right foot. Her body showed classic signs of advanced decomposition, skin marbling, slippage, insect activity. On the floor near her were two things: a used condom and a Lifestyles condom wrapper. The woman would later be identified as Tamara Jones. The Wayne County Medical Examiner's Office retrieved her remains and a rape kit was ordered. The autopsy was conducted by Dr. Lockman Sung. His conclusion: cause of death, undetermined. Manner of death, indeterminate. But the investigation didn't end there. Samples collected from the crime scene and from Tamara's autopsy were submitted to the Michigan State Police Forensic Science Division. DNA testing was conducted by forensic scientist Jennifer Morgan. The results were damning. Swabs from inside the condom showed it was 12 septillion times more likely to contain DNA from Deangelo Martin and one unrelated individual than from two unknown, unrelated people. That's not speculation. That's science. Off-the-charts certainty. Tamara Jones's own DNA was also found in the same swab, 970 times more likely to be from her and an unknown individual than from two strangers. Moderate support, but present. Swabs from the outside of the condom told the same story. 11 nonillion times more likely that the DNA came from Deangelo Martin and one unknown person than two random people. The conclusion was crystal clear. Tamara Jones didn't die alone in that abandoned house on Mack Avenue. Deangelo Martin was there, and he left his trace behind. The discovery of the bodies shook Detroit, especially after police warned that the culprit was likely a serial killer. Mayor Mike Dugan and police brass held a press conference on June 7, 2019. Authorities scrambled. Crews raced to inspect abandoned buildings, searching for more bodies. They moved to board up over 2,000 vacant properties. Too late for the women already lost, but maybe not for the next. That same day, police named Deangelo Martin a person of interest in the murders. Hours later, detectives secured a warrant for the brutal rape that took place in his grandmother's basement. They found him waiting at a bus stop. He didn't run. He didn't resist. They arrested him without incident. The charges came swiftly. 4 murders, 2 rapes. DNA evidence tied him to every scene. After his arrest hit the media outlets, 2 women provided information to detectives highlighting Deangelo's depravity. Natasha Sampson, Deangelo Martin's former girlfriend, gave a statement that peeled back another layer of brutality. She said they had been together since September of the previous year, right up until the day Nancy Harrison's body was discovered in that abandoned house on Coventry. That same day, Deangelo broke her nose. According to Natasha, they had been getting high together when Deangelo made a chilling confession. He told her not to worry about the woman she'd been in conflict with anymore, Nancy, because he had bashed her face in with a 2x4. He never used Nancy's name directly, but Natasha didn't need him to. People in the neighborhood told her that Nancy had been found inside the same vacant house where Natasha once slept, on the same mattress. Natasha described a relationship ruled by violence. She said Deangelo was both physically and abusive. He controlled her through fear, expecting the money she made from turning tricks and beating her when she didn't hand it over. He'd pull her hair, he'd choke her. If she didn't give him what he wanted, he would force it, grabbing her by the hair, then by the throat, and trying to penetrate despite her refusal. He demanded anal. She refused, but that didn't stop him from trying. Natasha survived him, but her testimony painted a clear, savage picture. Deangelo Martin wasn't just a killer. He was a predator in every sense of the word, violent, controlling, and remorseless. And those who crossed his path rarely walked away untouched. Then, a woman whose name was redacted in records gave a statement.
I'm Detective Mitchell. So, they were telling me that you wanted to talk to her. What you want to talk about?
I'm just stressed.
No, I understand. Take your time. As you know, I'm working on that case over on Coventry.
Yeah.
With the lady in the vacant house. Nancy? You know her as Nancy? Does she have any street names?
I just know her as Nancy.
That's all she went by was Nancy? Okay. How long have you known Nancy?
I need to see a picture of her. I know the name of, but I'm not very good with all the girls' names.
Okay.
But she's definitely, her name has been out there for a while, so she's known as one of the females around that area.
Okay, but you never really...
I might have been in front of her because I know her,
No, I'm saying that's not somebody you would normally be...
not hanging out with.
Well, that's what I was asking. Okay.
But,
person who I'm talking about, how do you think she is?
I heard she's in her 40s, maybe.
How do you think she is? How do you think she is?
About that.
About that, okay. Okay. I'll get you a
30s,
picture.
40.
I'll get you a picture. Somebody got my file right now. So, so what did you hear? Did you guys ever? You say you might have seen her before. You guys was up in the same spot a couple times, or just walking?
Well, I mean, because the girls they cross path each other through walking, and most people that have the addictions, especially the females, that are homeless, they end up going to the same houses, and I mean, so everybody's name's repeated many times.
Okay.
But I heard, and the house was pointed out of where she claims to be murdered.
Okay.
Off a street off Coventry.
So, what do you know? Or
I just know from what I heard. I mean, I heard this from many girls because girls warn each other of where to be careful. Mm-hmm. I know the house that she was in, that is a popular standing spot for a lot of the women.
Okay.
It's the house that's right behind where the women would stand.
Okay.
And so it was a corner house, and I heard that she was raped, beaten, murdered. I had an incident. I just thought it was coincidental that I had an incident that had happened to me on Coventry as well.
We were at on Coventry, if you remember.
It was north of that house, maybe about 6 houses up.
Okay.
Approximately about that.
Okay.
And
do you know what side street this house was on?
the house that I was in?
No, that Nancy was in.
Remington and Coventry.
Okay. Okay. So you say it was north of there for your incident?
Yes.
Okay. What happened?
There is this guy that I thought was my friend. I seen him outside a lot. This incident, it was just somebody I thought was somebody that would look out for me.
Was he was he like your manager?
No.
Or are you just on your own?
No, I was just on my own.
Okay. Okay.
No, just really living homeless. So I'm
Okay.
trying to take care of myself and my addiction and eat and sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But he was just somebody because I'm outside alone a lot. He seemed pretty caring at first, you know, how he approached and introduced himself. And he was an addict as well, or he is. So we kind of connected. We would smoke every now and then with each other. He would, if he would see me outside, he would make sure that nobody was going to hurt me, or he would, he
watched over.
He watched over, but he did not work by any means with
You
me.
didn't give him any money or anything for helping out from watching over you?
Not paying wise, no.
Not paying wise.
No.
Okay.
Everything was just strictly just hanging out as friends. What I
Okay.
thought.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've noticed that he drank a lot more at nighttime, and he started acting a little bit more protective as time went on. And a lot of times I started avoiding him, or I would say I would come back and I wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
He just started maybe showing his colors or just getting a little comfortable with me to where I don't know if it was like he was having feelings for me. We didn't have any sexual...
Never had any sexual encounters?
Encounters, no.
Okay.
And I think maybe we just had like an oral sex at one point, but it wasn't,
You were
it took a
inebriated at
long
the
time, yeah.
And you were inebriated or whatever at the time? Okay. Okay.
And he would ask me all the time, and I would avoid him, say no. He would touch me a lot, and I would ask him to stop, just leave me alone, I'm stressed, I don't like doing this in the first place. And so this particular night, I didn't come back as soon as he probably thought I was. And I ended up getting stranded over by 6 Mile that night, and I had to walk back, so it took a lot longer to get back. And by the time I seen him, he was hanging out at the gas station at State Fair, and and he was drinking pretty heavily. And I went inside, and I noticed him yelling, hollering very loudly into the store. And he was getting into it with the cashier at the time. It was a male, young male. And I've noticed that they do this a lot with each other, so I didn't know how serious it was. And I asked what it was about.
Which store was this one?
This was, it looks like a BP, but I think it's called Speed, State Fair in John R.
Okay.
And I guess whatever they're arguing about, the end result was that he was trying to get Lucy cigarettes, and the cashier wasn't selling it to him, so it really ticked him off.
Mm-hmm.
And he explained that he's in a really ticked off mood, that he just got a ticket in Hazel Park, and he just kept throwing like talks like I'm gonna fuck you up, or just stuff like that, just out of anger. The cashier.
To the cashier.
Yeah.
Okay. They had gotten into an argument. Okay.
So I tried solving it. I had $20. I said, it's 2 cigarettes. It's $1. I said, here's $1. And I gave him $1, and I bought food as well.
Okay.
And I came out there with my food and a drink, and I bought him his cigarettes, and the arguments kept going on, so I kind of just slipped out to avoid it and get away from him.
He was still arguing with the store clerk?
The store clerk.
Okay. Okay. Just making sure.
So I didn't draw too much more attention. I clearly seen that he was drinking, and what seemed to me more of a violent rage in his mind, and I just kind of slipped out. And he ended up coming outside, and he screamed my name, And I turned around and I said yes, and he was like, where are you going? He was like, can I come with you? I said, no, I just want to be alone. And he was like, get back here. He was like, get the fuck back here. He was like, I want to talk to you. I need to talk to you about something. And I was like, what? And out of intimidation, I started walking up slowly to him. It's not clear to me exactly word for word what he was saying when I came back to him, but the result was he ended up swinging his arm back and he punched me in my face.
Okay. And what happened from there?
I was knocked out pretty good.
Okay.
And then he was yelling at me to get back up. I got up, and he was swearing, cursing, and he was screaming about that I'm a stupid ass, that I'm dumb, I don't know what for, and he ended up punching me again, pretty hard. And he started walking around in circles around me, and he was pulling my hair, and he kept telling me to get the fuck up. There was more threats, I remember. I just don't remember the exact threats, but the threats were that I better not run and take off. He'll fuck my ass up. Out of intimidation, I went with him. He was standing really close to me. I've never seen him in this rage before. Never. And because of him hitting me like that, I had to walk with him, and nobody was helping me at all. People in the parking lot had seen me. He was swearing at people. He was kind of, when he was swearing at people, he was just like cursing off to everybody, nobody in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And
now this was at the gas station?
Yes.
Okay.
And the clerk didn't even come out.
Mm.
And I know it was on camera.
How long ago was this?
It was in winter.
That was during the winter months? Okay. Okay.
And
So you walked off with him? What happened from there?
he just kept mumbling and shouting, just really telling me how stupid I am. I'm a fucking idiot. I don't realize how much he loves me. That he looks like a stupid ass, and every time I say I'm gonna come back, and he's sitting there like a dog, that I'm gonna come back for him, and of course he's sitting there alone, that I don't show, and he expects that every time, but he still gives me a chance, and I don't see how much he really cares for me, and he tries to tell me.
And you guys aren't dating, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
And along the way, he would just snatch me by my hair again.
Now, where are you at now, in location wise?
On Coventry.
You're on Coventry.
Yeah, he had pulled me along from the gas station after he did 2 punches on my face, on each side of my face, and then threatened for me to come with him.
Mm-hmm.
And intimidation, I went with him, and he was kind of like pulling me along to Coventry, because the gas station connects from Coventry to the gas station. So we crossed over. And then along the way, he just kept smacking me, punched me, just pulling my hair along all the way down Coventry. I think it was almost up to the 2nd block. I would know if I seen it, but it was up to the 2nd block.
Okay.
And he ended up checking my pockets, going through my stuff, and he seen that I had $17.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling me that I better not take off when he brings me in the house. There was a house on Coventry that he brought me to, but apparently he was sleeping back there for shelter in the winter.
On Coventry?
On Coventry.
Okay.
And it was just an abandoned house. It had nothing in there at all. No food, no electricity, nothing.
Just some shelter.
Just shelter, and what looked like just a mattress, maybe like the same kind of mattress as that you would put in a baby crib. It kind of has like that plastic material.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I had in there, and maybe a couple candles.
Okay. That's where y'all went back to? Okay.
Yeah. And he told me to take off my clothes, and he was exposing himself to me, and he told me to go ahead, go give him head. That if I made him come,
Take your time, okay?
If I made him come, then he would kill me.
If you did or didn't?
Did.
If you did?
Yeah, and I didn't understand that.
Okay.
So it was like a mental game, and I
Right.
really didn't understand.
Okay.
So I performed oral on him. And he kept knocking me up beside my head to do it right, or how he wanted it. I'm not doing it good enough, harder, slower, faster.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he would stop and smack me so hard. And he kept telling me, don't even try to run. He would just stop out of nowhere, tell me not to run. That if I took a chance, that he would kill me. He mentioned that he's killed some Arabs. That's what he said. His mind kept coming back on different things. He was bitching about the police that he got the ticket from, and then his mind would wander off a little bit too, the guy at the gas station, and he just kept saying that.
Okay. So, did, I know this is hard. Did you guys have any, other than oral, was anything else happened?
Yeah, he had sex with me.
Okay. Can you explain to me?
He forcefully had sex with me.
Okay.
He says that he's tired of me saying no to him, that he's getting it tonight.
How did you guys do it?
As in, what do you mean?
Positions.
Positions. He was making me go on top.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time.
Okay.
Nearly 3 years later, Deangelo Martin's trial begins. As the trial wraps up, family members share victim impact statements before sentencing.
Your Honor, what I'd like to say that since the murder of my daughter, it's affected the whole family. And, you know, I just think that whatever happens here today, I hope the best. And I hope Bubba gets you.
It's been a rough 3.5 years. Every day. Every day we think about Nancy. Nancy was a good person, very good-hearted person. I have no more words for this person. Thank you, Your Honor, for letting me speak. And thank you guys for letting me speak. I'm holding tight, sis. I'm holding on. I got to get away. I got to walk that way, okay? Thank you very kindly.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Lisa Hanstrider. Nancy Harrison is my beautiful mother. I've waited 3 years for this day.
Jeez.
The day that you rot in hell, Deangelo Martin. Exactly where you belong. You are a perfect example of why Michigan should have the death penalty.
Latrice Ellis, Latrese. I just want to say that I miss my mother so much. I've had nightmares every night. I have 3 babies, and they ask about her all the time. And I haven't even come close to telling them exactly what happened because I don't want to frighten them and want them to be afraid to live.
My name is Anita Nelson Reed, spelled A-N-I-T-A, Nelson, N-E-L-S-O-N, Reed, R-E-E-D. Your Honor, my twin sister Netta was an intelligent woman. She graduated at the age of 16. I'm grateful for the one man that found my sister in that house, black and blue, bloody in her face, her pants poured down, raped, strangled, and murdered in that vacant, abandoned house. This man had the decency to bring my sister out. In my heart, I believe there's more victims that Deangelo Kenny Martin confessed it to. Deangelo Kenny Martin is a beast. He's an inhumane, cold-hearted killer who is not fit to live in this society. He killed enough women and have hurt enough families for his lifetime. Please throw away the key and put this monster where he belongs.
Mr. Martin, please stand. Is there anything that you wish to say to the court prior to the court imposing sentence?
I just want to apologize for the people that go through what they go through, and that I will be back in the courtroom one day. No, you won't, because I know for a fact that what my wrongdoing.
Is that all you wish to say, Mr. Martin? And I hear what you just said. You said that this was not your wrongdoing, but Mr. Martin, the court presided over the hearing in which you entered a plea, and the statements that you made to this court were consistent with the information in the investigators' reports, and you did not hesitate at all. Mr. Martin, the court just does not believe the statements that you're making right now to the court about just not being you and you not being responsible. You did not hesitate at all when you entered a factual basis on each and every one of those cases. Based upon the court's review of the pre-sentence investigation report, as well as the victim impact statements that have been made here in the court today, along with the arguments that have been made by the attorneys, the court will sentence you in accordance with your plea agreements with the people. As the case ending in 5267, as to the assault with intent to murder, you'll be sentenced to no less than 20 years and no more than 40 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. As to counts 2 through 5, which are the criminal sexual conduct first degree, you will be sentenced to no less than 20 years and no more than 40 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections, and you must comply with the Sex Offender Registration Act. You will receive 1,097 days jail credit. Those sentences will be served concurrently with one another, as well as concurrently with the other cases that the court will sentence you on momentarily. As to case ending in 5898, as to the one count of kidnapping, you will be sentenced to no less than 20 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections and no more than 40 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. As to count 2, the assault with intent to do great bodily harm, you will be sentenced to no less than 5 years and no more than 10 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. As to count 3, criminal sexual conduct, assault with intent to commit sexual penetration, you will be sentenced to no less than 5 years and no more than 10 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections, and you will receive 1,097 days of jail credit. As to case ending in 2949, the homicide, murder, and second degree, you'll be sentenced to no less than 45 years and no more than 70 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. You will receive 1,097 days jail credit. On case ending in 2949, you will be sentenced to no less than 45 years. 2948, you'll be sentenced to no less than 45 years and no more than 70 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. You will receive 1,097 days jail credit. As the case ending in 2950, homicide, murder in the second degree, you'll be sentenced to no less than 45 years and no more than 70 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. You'll receive 1,097 days jail credit. As the case ending in 2951, homicide, murder in the second degree, you will be sentenced to no less than 45 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections and no more than 70 years in the Michigan Department of Corrections. You will receive 1,097 days jail credit. All cases are to be served concurrently.